Howdy folks, Darren here with you at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. Glad to have you with us on this cold December day. Still see we still got some snow here laying behind me. We had about an inch of snow last night, but the sun's been out today, melted most of it away. There's still some laying in the shades. Boy, it was a rough night last night. Winds gusting 50, 60 miles an hour. I turned on the porch lights on our home last night about 11:30, and the snow was going completely sideways. The wind was just ferocious, and it's still breezy out today, but not like last night. It sounded like the roof was going to come off the house a time or two. The wind was just horrendous, but we suffered no damage. None of our sheds, our barn roof, everything. A-okay, God took care of us. So, soil sample day. We're going to get at it.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Beautiful day. Sun's out, it's cold. But we're heading out into the pasture to our hay fields to take some soil samples today. We have already done a DIY soil sample kit. I'm really curious how our soil sample in that DIY kit's going to line up with what a certified lab says. So let's go take some samples. We're going to send these samples to our state certified lab. Okay folks, we're here in our expanded test plot, and we're going to do some soil samples here. We already took soil samples here in this expansion of our test plot just not long ago, and we used that sample in our DIY home soil sample test. So now we're going to collect sample from the same area, or areas I should say, as we got for that DIY soil sample kit. A couple tools you need to do a soil sample. I use this little garden rake thing of Susan's to scratch back any grass, dead grass, and make a bare spot, so I'm not pulling up grasses in this soil sample. Have two clean buckets. We're going to be doing two soil samples, one from here in our extended test plot and another in our reclaimed hayfield. So we have two clean buckets to collect each of those samples in. One thing that I have here, this is a DIY homemade soil sample probe. You can see all I done was put some bolts in through it. The bolts, this is for a step to push it into the dirt. This is for just a handle to be able to twist it to pull it out. And we just took a pipe and a grinder and cut us out a slot so we can get it, make sure we're getting at least 6 inches of soil for our test. Okay, we're gonna clean our grasses away just in one little spot. Get down to bare soil. All right, now we have our homemade soil sample probe. We're just gonna give it a twist to lock in that sample, and there we go. This bucket right here, no white on no plastic grip on the wire handle. We're going to designate as our test plot, and we're just going to rake this out. Our DIY soil probe does really good until you hit a rock. May have to build another one out of a little thicker metal, but it worked. We got our soil samples in the extended test plot. Now we're heading to the reclaimed hayfield. We got our soil samples from the extended test plot. Still some snow laying around out here in places. I don't know if you can see that. That's good. For our soil, this snow melts slowly into the ground. I did notice that soil I pulled out of the test plot extension at 6 inches deep was quite moist. It's a good sign, moisture in the ground. We had a really, really dry fall. I mean, really dry. Lately we've been getting rain. We've had some good rains, and I'm very pleased to see that all this rain we've been getting just lately is really soaking in. Still some snow back here. All right, we're gonna clean this off a spot. Don't want to get grass in our soil sample. Don't really want to dig up the sod, but I don't want grass in it either. I want to get the top layer of grass. This hayfield's overwintering real well. All right, got our homemade soil probe right there. I found that it's about easier just to tap this thing into the ground as it is to try to step on it. All right, give this thing a twist so it'll come out and hold that. You see that? Pulls a great soil sample. I mean, a great soil sample. All right, let's rake this out into our bucket. I do have a piece of grass in there. All right, I've got a little L bracket thing I can use to help scrape this out. Now let's move on to another spot. We're collecting enough in random places around to get a good overall reading. We got our soil samples done. You can see my bolt on my step-in thing just bent. Soft bolts. One good thing is the soil is pretty damp, 6 inches deep. At least 6 inches deep. It's moist. It caked in this slot opening really good. Kind of hard to get out of there. But we got our samples. We got all the samples we need for our test plot extension and the reclaimed hayfield. We're going to see just how well that DIY soil sample kit reads. If it does great, man, I'm tickled. That'll be fantastic if it reads in line with what a certified lab says. If not, we're not out a lot of money and it'll be okay. We'll just won't use them in the future. So let's go fill up our boxes. Okay, folks, we got our soil samples. Buckets got enough in them for the boxes. Let's go. We got to fill out our boxes with our appropriate information and our forms that goes with them, and we're ready to send these soil samples off. Soil samples are very important for your hay production or your crops or whatever you're growing. I can't stress that enough. How do you really know if you need the lime, if you need more potassium than you do nitrogen, things like that? Get the most bang for your buck with your fertilizer through soil samples. What the lab recommends, what your soil needs. We're in the shop now, out of that cold air. We've got our boxes, our soil sample boxes. As you can see, there's just a flat box. They're from our North Carolina Department of Agriculture to go to the state lab. They just open and you fold the bottom and the top in and it kind of locks shut. fill box to this line, and you fill out your name and address and your farm ID and the sample number and all that good stuff. We've got 2 boxes already filled out. We're testing 2 different pastures or hay fields. One will be for our reclaimed hay field, and one will be for our test plot extension. We have our 2 buckets here. Here's our test plot bucket, and I've got a screwdriver here, a really clean screwdriver. I wiped it off good and clean, and I'm just busting up some of the clods of dirt inside this bucket so it's mixed, because these come from a bunch of different places in the field and they're sampling. We want it to mix into one good sample, and this test plot is not a very big area, but even so, we want to make sure that we're using best practices to get this soil mixed and stirred like the instructions that come with the soil sample kit call for. Okay, we've got our box filled to the red line. Okay, got our dirt very scooped up, and we're going to gently pour this. Until we hit that red line. There we go. We got dirt left over. We'll set this one aside. There is sample from the test plot. Okay, here's our second box from the reclaimed hay field, and you see it. Good looking dirt. Very rich, dark. I think what I'll do this time is pick it up by hand and dump it in there. I was filling that up, trying to pour it, it was going everywhere. Okay, there we go. Alright. Make sure our label's right. Yes, this one is from the reclaimed hay field. And there we go. Reclaimed hay field ready to go. Here's a form we fill out to go with these. We'll put both these down into a little small box and label it, put the form in. North Carolina Department of Agriculture from Thanksgiving to March charges $4 per sample. From March until Thanksgiving, it's free. But during the very peak time of the year, this is the time of year you should be doing your soil samples, they do charge $4 per sample, which I'm sending only 2. It'll be $8. That's cheap. That's cheap for good knowledge about your soil. And I am so hoping that the lab results come back comparable to that DIY Mosser Lee soil sample test kit, that DIY kit. If it does, it's something we don't have to do this no more. We don't have to send these off. We can do it right here. If you grow hay and your target is high quality hay, start doing this stuff. Now's the time. Now's the time. If you want to put out lime, if your pH is low and you need to apply lime, you need to apply that lime a couple of months in advance of the growing season. That lime needs time to work its way into the soil rain and snow and everything will help work that lime down into your soil. And that higher pH level, if your pH is low, will help your grasses. It adds to their ability to take in nutrients from your fertilizer. When you get that pH level up to the right level, we're shooting for about a 6 to 6.5. 7 is considered neutral, from acidic to alkaline, and we're looking for about a 6 to 6.5, just slightly below neutral, very slightly below neutral. We are going to get these mailed off, and we will bring you back when we get our results. We're quickly approaching the Christmas season, and I really don't expect to get these back till after Christmas. It's mid-December now, and we're just a few days away from Christmas, so it'll be probably first of the year or after. I'm sure those labs close for the holidays. It'll be after the first of the year, but we'll bring you back for that to see how this compares with the DIY test. Thanks for being with us, and we pray that you and your family have a very, very Merry Christmas. Remember the reason for the season, and keep that in your thoughts and in your heart as we go through this holiday season, and gather with your family and your friends and your relatives, and tell each other how much you love and appreciate each other. And we pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful, Merry, Merry Christmas. God bless you and your family.